I'm just pointing to the fact na kaya tayo nagkakagulo at nalilito lahat kasi apparently it seems that some officials in the particular office are not aware of how they should use or utilize confidential funds. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Magandang hapon po sa ating mga resource person. Just to clarify, Mr. Chair, I would like to pursue the line of questioning on the possibility that there seems to be a misunderstanding of how confidential funds are being utilized. No? Kasi sa pananaw ko po, ito po ay isang bagay na dapat matuldukan kung yung ating ba pong mga empleyado at kawani sa gobyerno ay naiintindihan ang purpose ng confidential and or intel funds para naman po hindi na maulit ang ganitong mga situation. So, Mr. Chair, earlier, if I may be allowed to take off from the line of questioning of our distinguished colleague, the Honorable Franz Castro, narinig ko rin po kasi kanina nung sinabi ni Mr. Tenido, ni Sir, na they were preparing, you were involved, sir, in the preparation of the budgets, right?
Yes,
Yes. Can you enlighten this August body? Can you define confidential funds?
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Mr. Kelvin Tenido.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Based on the joint circular, ma'am, confidential funds is to be used for the confidential activities such as surveillance. This is available for civilian government office in relation to the performance of their mandate, ma'am, Mr. Chair.
So confidential funds will be used for the surveillance activities of civilian government agencies to fulfill their mandate. And when we talk about activities, surveillance activities in relation to confidential funds, does this refer to the regular programs of the agency concerned? Or does this refer to programs related to insurgency and other threats to national security?
It's in relation, ma'am, with the mandate of the office, ma'am.
In relation to the mandate of the office?
Yes, ma'am.
And in this case, we're referring to the office of the Vice President or DepEd?
Office of the Vice President, Mr. Chair.
So which specific mandate, alin po doon sa mandato ng Office ng Vice President ang nangangailangan ng pondo ng confidential funds?
In case of OVP, it is really the operations, the general operations of the OVP, and with the.
Can you put
Sorry.
put the microphone nearer po?
In case of OVP, this is for the operations of the projects and activities of the OVP. The entirety of the.
So how do you differentiate, Mr. Chair, yung pondo for the regular programs of the OVP vis-a-vis the confidential funds?
Confidential fund or confidential expenses, as they labeled it as in the GAA, is part of the overall budget of the OVP. The confidential expense or the confidential fund is not a separate item on top of the either good governance or socio-economic program delivery. It is within that program, ma'am.
So, Mr. Chair, distinguished colleagues, ang pagkaintindi ko, ang sinasabi po ni Mr. Tenido, itong budget is the regular budget, and ito namang confidential fund is another budget that seems to be an augmentation of the agency budget. Yan po ang pagkaintindi niya, sir.
Can you repeat, Mr. Chair? Sorry.
Ang pagkaintindi ko po, Mr. Chairman, dun sa sagot ni Mr. Tenido, yung confidential funds appears to be an augmentation of the existing funds of the department concerned or the office concerned.
I can't really say that it is an augmentation, but it's part of the budget, agency-specific budget of one office.
So, Mr. Chair, I believe this is where the problem lies. Kasi tila, pasensya na po, no? Tila hindi naiintindihan nung mga naghahawak ng pondo kung para saan ang confidential funds. I really didn't want to ask questions. Pero kanina ko pa kasi naririnig, Mr. Chair, paulit-ulit, tila umiikot po tayo, hindi natutuldukan either there is an intention to deviate from what should be discussed, either that is unintentional or intentional. Kasi sa pagkakaintindi ko at sa sinabi naman inamin ni Mr. Tenido, ang confidential funds ay ginagamit for surveillance activities of civilian government agencies. And that is different from intel funds because it's the same thing, surveillance activities for military personnel and intel practitioners. Parang ganun po. In other words, ang confidential fund ay gagamitin mo sa surveillance activities ng opisina kaakibat sa mga programa in relation to either terrorism and other activities that pertains to threats to national security. Can you confirm this, Mr.
Yes,
Tenido?
Mr. Chair, I confirm.
So, kinukumpirma niyo po ang sinasabi ko. Ulitin ko lang, Mr. Chair, no? So that we will be on the same road path.
Yes, please continue.
Okay. Linawin natin. Kasi kanina, tila ang mga napag-uusapan, yung confidential funds ay pondo sa departamento ng Office of the Vice President and other civilian agencies that is dealing with specific programs and projects. Pero tila ang nakakalimutan, this is in relation to activities that pertains to either insurgency and other threats to national security. Do you confirm that, sir?
I
Sorry.
confirm, ma'am. I confirm, ma'am, based on the joint circular.
So on the joint circular, merong purpose. So nasabi niyo rin po kanina na kayo po ang gumawa ng proposal or justification. If I may quote nga, you also mentioned, napakahaba ng proseso ng budget process at hindi madali ang inclusion ng confidential funds in an agency, either the OVP, DepEd, or other government agencies. Tama po ba, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. When you proposed the budget of confidential funds item in the Office of the Vice President, ano po ang specific programs and activities?
For fiscal year 2023, Mr. Chair, programs, activities, and projects, or PAPs, it's socio-economic program delivery, expected outcome, safe implementation of OVP initiatives and confidence building, and the success indicators for all the quarters of 2023. First is number of identified areas with surveillance conducted and monitored. Second, percentage of activities implemented without untoward security-related incidents. This is in reference to the Fiscal and Financial Plan for fiscal year 2023 submitted to DBM.
So, Mr. Chair, dun po sa sagot nyo, sir, ano po ang specific item doon that is related to national security threat?
There is no express, ma'am, statement on the Fiscal and Financial Plan, and we merely relied on how the Fiscal and Financial Plan was drafted and approved.
Pakiulit po nung sagot nyo, you relied on how?
On how the Fiscal and Financial Plan was prepared and approved, ma'am.
Is it not that this is prepared by your office as part of the budget and
No.
admin office?
No, ma'am, it is prepared by the Project Accountable Officer based on the template attached to the joint circular.
Tapos dumadaan ito sa inyo kasi ikaw ang magpropose sa DBM.
Kukunin ko na lang po siya, ma'am, once for submission
Okay?
to DBM, and once we receive, approve na po ito ng head of agency.
So kukunin mo siya at isasubmit mo sa DBM. Tama po ba?
Yes, ma'am.
Pag kinuha
Yes,
mo
Mr.
siya at sinubmit sa DBM, ano po? Talagang parang clerical work lang, hindi mo na nire-review?
Well, I'll just check the amount if consistent with the...
How about the description?
The
Hindi
descrip-
po ba parte yan ng iyong trabaho?
Yes, ma'am, but the plan is already approved by the head of agency.
So what is your role then? Kasi salary grade ano po kayo, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Salary grade 24, ma'am.
So pag salary grade 24, nasa magkano po ang
Now
salary
po,
plus allowances sa ngayon po?
with the latest salary table, nasa 95 po.
So, Mr. Chair, we have heard a government official receiving approximately 95,000 per month. At ang naririnig ko sa sinasabi po ni Mr. Tenido, tinatanggap niya ang papel at pinapasa sa DBM. May we remind our good resource person, pasensya na po, with position and with responsibility comes accountability. So I cannot accept the reason na tinanggap mo lang tapos pinasa mo sa DBM kasi deemed approved na siya. Because if you look at the purposes that were being mentioned, I cannot pinpoint even in the slightest idea the link between national security threat and the PAPs that was mentioned by the Honorable Tenido. Tila po, Mr. Chair, yung justification is not for confidential funds. It was mere performance of the duties of the Office of the Vice President. At sa pagkakaintindi ko, this runs in contrast to the intention of the specific line item. Tama po ba ako, sir?
I can agree, Mr. Chair.
Okay. So may I ask also for Attorney Sanchez. So, ma'am, you came from COA before po kayo napunta sa Office of the Vice President. Let's pursue the same line of questioning. Pag meron pong confidential fund, ang confidential fund by the Joint Circular is defined as funds that it's to fund surveillance activities for anti-terrorism, drugs, or other situations where there is national security threat. And this is performed by civilian agencies. Okay. Coming from the Commission on Audit, kung tanggalin po natin yung iyong position in the Office of the Vice President, when an agency requests for funds from the national coffers of our government, hindi po ba ay merong specific na paggagamitan ito?
Yes, Your Honor. For the regular fund, it is required to be very specific, Your Honor.
Okay. Kapag gumamit ka ng confidential fund, magkaiba ba ito sa pinagagamitan sa regular activities ng opisinang pinanunungkulan nyo?
Your Honor, it should be different from the regular activities because that is the reason why it has to be separate fund, Your Honor.
Okay. And in this case, Your Honor, Mr. Chair, and the Honorable Resource Person, kay Attorney Sanchez, nagawa po ba yun o hindi?
Your Honor, as to the budgeting, Your Honor, based on what was submitted, it is different from the regular programs and projects of the
Ano
OVP.
po ang difference, ma'am? Because I was hearing earlier, it pertains to, if, Mr. Chair, can we request Mr. Tenido to reiterate his earlier statement? My understanding earlier was that you mentioned that when you submit and requested for funding under confidential funds, it was for the purpose of the Vice President being able to accomplish her duties and mandate.
Yes, Madam Chair, Mr.
So,
Chair.
what specific mandate are we referring to?
This is the operations of the OVP, ma'am.
Which specific operational item? I mean, which specific
Yes.
activity? Kasi if we say operations of the Vice President's office, it can actually refer to all the tasks that she performs together with the President. It's quite vague. Sa pananaw niyo po ba, pag pinapadala niyo sa DBM yun, ina-approve or hinahanapan kayo ng specifics?
Can you repeat, Mr. Chair? I'm sorry.
Kapag kayo ay nagre-request ng pondo sa DBM, hinahanapan ba kayo ng specifics or details or hindi?
Yes, there are instances po that the DBM request for additional documents, additional details.
Okay. In this case, ano po ang naging justification? I mean, Mr. Chair, just for the record, I'm not saying that it's disallowed. I'm just pointing to the fact na kaya tayo nagkakagulo at nalilito lahat kasi apparently it seems that some officials in the particular office are not aware of how they should use or utilize confidential funds, nor are they aware of the difference between confidential funds and or regular funds of the agency or MOOE.